The secret behind endless shrinkage of TSMC's advanced manufacturing processes. TSMC is significantly ahead of Intel and Samsung in chip manufacturing in 2020. What's the secret that no one knows? This video was conceived and produced on July 25, 2020. Recently, TSMC has been far ahead of Intel and Samsung in chip manufacturing and processing with its most advanced manufacturing advantages, which has caused great industry news and a lot of reports in Taiwan and the world. I don't have TSMC stocks on hand, but as a former stock analyst for Intel and AMD, I unconsciously thought about why TSMC is so far ahead of Intel in terms of process and chip yield. In theory, this is an impossible thing, but in fact, it happens. How wonderful. So I'm thinking that TSMC must have made some kind of unannounced technological breakthrough in a certain process area, and this breakthrough is not known to the outside world, so that neither Intel nor Samsung can make progress in the chip shrinking process. In the process of shrinking chip circuits, it fell seriously behind TSMC because it was unable to break through the problem of defective rates. My first doubt. In terms of process technology, equipment, talents, know-how, capital investment and application, and more importantly, the unparalleled innovation and creativity produced by Americans in a free living environment, Intel in the United States was not TSMC at all 10 years ago. By comparison, Intel is the world's #1 leader in the field of wafer processing, design and manufacturing. However, Intel has been stuck on the 14-nanometer process for 7 or 8 years. The 10-nanometer process has repeatedly failed and been delayed after it was announced. The reason is that the yield is too low to be mass-produced. Why can't Intel successfully manufacture 10-nanometer CPUs? My second doubt. Samsung's technology, capital, intellectual property rights and talent are not at all behind TSMC. They are also world-famous for their aggressiveness. They are even more concerned about the chip manufacturing process, and their prior investment in R&D and equipment is absolutely no less than that of TSMC. As soon as TSMC announces all of their processes, Samsung will immediately follow up and announce the arrival of their new processes, and they will not hesitate to purchase large quantities of the most expensive ones. Wafer processing equipment and cut prices to grab orders. However, the tragedy of Samsung grabbing orders has happened again and again, because a few months later, there were repeated news that their new process yield was very low, causing customers to lose business and transfer orders to TSMC. Why has Samsung's progress in chip manufacturing been so miserable in recent years? My third doubt. It seems that in the past 4 or 5 years, there has been no negative news about TSMC's low chip production yield. It seems that as long as it can obtain photolithography mask machines with smaller processes, TSMC will be able to quickly apply these most advanced machines and equipment, and can smoothly enter more advanced and smaller processes without any problems, not to mention the wafer processing yield. There are no problematic news reports at all. Now there is news about entering 3 nanometers and 2 nanometers process production in 2022 and 2023. Now, I have to ask whether TSMC has perfect control over the clean room air purification project. From the first day when microcomputer wafers were introduced, air pollution in clean rooms and wafer impurities have always been the biggest problems in wafer processing. Suspended particles are always present in every corner of our planet and in every space, and they are constantly being produced and overflowed into the air with airflow or automatic diffusion. During the processing of the wafer body, it must not be contaminated by the adhesion of suspended particles, otherwise it will immediately cause a short circuit in the transistor circuit and cause scrapped products, leaving no room for negotiation. Therefore, chip processing and manufacturing particularly require product production yield, which is always the #1 job. TSMC claims that its advanced process involves 2,000 to 3,000 wafer processing steps. According to the principle of the immortality of matter in physics, every time fine processing is performed, uncountable extremely fine suspended particles will inevitably be produced in the working environment. If they are not 100% removed from the workspace immediately, it will inevitably cause harmful effects in the next process. Short-circuit defective product. When wafers are physically processed, even the vacuum hood working area will be instantly filled with countless fine suspended particles that are absolutely destructive to the wafer circuits. There are an unimaginably large number of suspended particles in the air, existing in various sizes and volumes, floating everywhere in the air. As the size of the transistor circuits in the wafer body shrinks, the damage caused by previously smaller suspended particles to the wafer becomes relatively larger and more serious. Although there is no direct statement or reliable report from Intel, I believe this is the main reason why Intel has been stuck in the 14 nanometers process for 7 or 8 years and cannot smoothly enter the 10 nanometers process. It is also the reason why their 10 nanometers production volume is still very low so far. The main reason for being unable to fully supply market demand and losing market share. Intel even announced 2 days ago that it would postpone the launch of 7 nanometers to next year or longer. After all, the presence of suspended particles throughout the world is an unavoidable physical phenomenon. As stated before, I don't own TSMC stocks, so I don't really care about its business. Except 5 or 6 years ago, I used to email my personal invention patent number to TSMC's external contact mailbox for their reference, hoping that my invention patent technology could be adopted by them and get paid. However, I never received any contact or any response from TSMC and gave up. Air purifiers that use filters are technological products developed in the United States after the development of the atomic bomb. Because of the various radiations generated by the atomic bomb explosion will be absorbed or ionized by the suspended particles in the air, and remain suspended in the air. It turns into so-called radiation dust. Radiation dust is very harmful to the human body, so we must find ways to filter out these radioactive suspended particles in the human living space to avoid harming human health. There are 2 main ways to filter suspended particles in the air. The first is to use a filter, which uses air suction to suck the air from the other end of the filter through the filter into the air filter and then discharge it. Through this process of passing through the filter, relatively large suspended particles are stuck in the filter, thereby obtaining the air purification effect. The application efficiency of this kind of filter is relatively poor, and the reason is very simple. Due to limitations of physical phenomena, the gap structure of the filter cannot be too small or fine, otherwise, the air cannot be attracted to obtain the filtering effect, just like you cannot remove air from a piece of white paper without destroying the white paper. Sucking air through the other end to filter suspended particles in the air. Take the industry standard HEPA filter, which is often claimed in advertisements to be able to filter 99.95% of PM0.3 suspended particles in the air. It sounds perfect. But in fact, this filtration effect can only filter about 20% of the larger suspended particles in the air, but is powerless against 80% of the smaller suspended particles in the air, because the filter of this filter air purifier is the card cannot attach these large and small airborne particles. It is impossible to avoid toxins and extend your life. The other is to use the physical phenomenon of positive and negative electric attraction to adsorb suspended particles in the air to charged metal plates, metal strips, or metal mesh, thereby obtaining the air filtration effect. Theoretically, this is a relatively advanced air filtration technology method, but due to the problem of poor technical application design, the effect is not good and it is not commonly used. I have lived in Los Angeles, California, USA for many years. This wonderful place, California, is like a paradise. Big trees and grasses bloom and bear fruit all year round, releasing large amounts of pollen. These lovely pollens caused severe allergy attacks in me, and I lived with miserable and painful allergies and colds all year round. Allergies occur when the concentration of certain toxins accumulates in the body to a certain level, and cannot be restored by traditional medical methods such as pills or injections. In order to filter pollen and air pollutants in the air and improve my living and physical conditions, I bought a variety of air filters to use. The improvement effect was still not ideal, so I collected various air filters from all over the world. Research and experiment with all the information you need about air purification. Necessity is the mother of invention. After more than 10 years of continuous hard work, my highly intelligent son and I finally had the idea to invent an unprecedented new air filtration device that can be used to absorb various sizes and properties of pollutants in the air. Suspended particles. After applying for patents in various countries, because it is an unprecedented, innovative and unique and practical physical principle application technology, it was quickly approved and authorized by the invention patent rights of various countries. In Taiwan, the invention patent number valid for 20 years is I376488, I376488 not 1376488. The full name is High Efficiency Labyrinth Air Treatment Device. For detailed invention patent application information and content, you can search online to get complete information. The contents of invention application documents are generally relatively obscure and difficult to understand. I explain them in spoken language to help you better understand the principles and effects of this physical invention patent. This labyrinth air treatment device is installed in the middle of the air filter. It first passes the outside air through the air filter, and filters the large suspended particles in the air before entering the air filter. In the closed space in the air filter, the initially filtered air is immediately ionized by the negative ions of the negative ion generator in the closed space and becomes negatively charged. These tiny airborne particles, even some suspended particles that exist in the form of molecules, will be ionized regardless of their size and become all negatively charged, and are quickly attracted into a semi-enclosed one-way tube wall, all of which will be positively charged. In the air purification device with electric labyrinth channel structure. These preliminarily filtered air flows carry positively charged suspended particles forward in circles in the rotating air flow path. The strip-shaped airflow is spiraling forward, but the extremely tiny suspended particles in the airflow that are negatively charged can only move in a straight line, like a bullet at an extremely fast speed, directly hitting the positively charged maze at every corner. Based on the physical principle of mutual attraction between positive and negative electricity, and the huge difference in physical volume and weight between the two, all volume and even the smallest suspended particles are adsorbed on the surface of the positive tube wall. The air purified in this way does not contain any impurities or suspended particles except gas. You may ask, can such a positive and negative electric purifier completely absorb 100% of all suspended particles in the air? First of all, you must understand that the attraction of positive and negative electricity is a true physical phenomenon on our Earth. If the negative charge of the suspended particles in the air is insufficient, you can increase the number and efficiency of the negative ion generator. If the positive charge of the tube wall, if it is not strong enough to absorb all the negatively charged suspended particles in the airflow, then increase the voltage to increase its charge, and it is easy to achieve the goal of completely absorbing all the suspended particles in the air. This phenomenon of using positive and negative electricity to attract each other can be explained by the fact that powerful magnets can absorb tiny iron sand. The smaller the iron sand, the more firmly it will be attracted by the magnet and it will be difficult to break away. The suspended particles in the positively charged labyrinth device are also completely absorbed by the tube wall and unable to escape due to the same principle, which is as strong as the electroplating effect. This is an air filter that uses a negative ion generator and a positive panel, which is the best illustration. There are 3 negative ion generators on the top of it, which can instantly release 20,000 negative ions per second. The effective range of its negative ion generator is about 20 centimeters, and the existence of these negative ions cannot be seen with the naked eye. But basically all suspended particles within its range of action will be ionized by negative ions and become negatively charged. These tiny invisible and negatively charged suspended particles follow the airflow and will be adsorbed to the walls and floors when they hit them. If they happen to hit a positively charged metal surface, they will be attracted to it. It is adsorbed on its surface and cannot come off. Although these suspended particles are very small and cannot be seen, once a large number of them are adsorbed on the surface of the cylinder, you can see that the surface turns black. This is the adsorption effect of positive and negative charges. The structure of this air purifier with positive and negative charges cannot adsorb all ionized suspended particles. Only the lucky suspended particles will be adsorbed to the surface of its cylinder. Other suspended particles remain suspended in the air or are adsorbed to indoor items or people. When I was developing this maize air purifier in mainland China, I experimented with the prototype in my residence. I believe you are all interested in this kind of experimental experience. If you live indoors with this high-efficiency air purifier, you won't smell anything. Really pure air has no odor. But I can feel that my body and skin are very relaxed and comfortable, and I am energetic and in good spirits. As a person with severe allergies, I can clear up my stuffy nose and stop sneezing. Other than that, nothing else is different. However, as soon as you open the door and go out, everything changes. Your nose can smell all the pungent smells, and they are all here. Passing any ditch, you can smell the stench emanating from the ditch. However, this sensitivity to smell will gradually become numb after being outdoors for a period of time, and you will no longer be able to smell it. You must understand that all smells that your nose can and cannot smell, and all impurities that are absorbed through the skin and enter the body are toxins. In addition to the limitation of lifespan, the main reason for human birth, old age, illness, and death is that the toxins in the body continue to accumulate trace amounts of toxins during the long life process. When the concentration of toxins reaches the critical point of human organs, it will lead to organ damage and dysfunction, causing illness and death. Theoretically, if a person can live in a living environment with extremely low air pollution or even no toxins, the accumulation of toxins from the nose and skin will slow down, and his or her lifespan can be twice as long as that of ordinary people. Higher. After all, until now, no one has been able to live in a completely toxin-free living environment to check how long the human lifespan can be. For such an air filter, it would not be an exaggeration for me to call it an immortality machine. After all, the inevitable and continuous accumulation of toxins in the body is the biggest killer of human health and lifespan. Cancer and body organ dysfunction are just normal biochemical reactions caused by chemical changes in the body caused by toxins. What is the use of a labyrinth purifier like this that can purify suspended particles of all sizes in the air? It can be used to purify human living spaces, such as homes or sealed buildings. Not only can it completely purify the fresh air sucked in from the outside, but it can also continuously purify indoor items and suspended particles continuously produced by the human body, including odors, heavy metal particles, flying dust, etc. In hospitals, all the air in the hospital can be completely purified to meet the standards of a clean room, thus minimizing the spread of infectious diseases. When applied to industrial clean rooms for air purification, it can reach a perfect level, minimizing the chance of wafers being contaminated by ultrafine suspended particles, and improving the production yield of advanced process wafers. There has been a lot of news about TSMC's success in the past few days, which caught my attention. Suddenly, I had a strange idea. Has my labyrinth air purification device been used in the clean room of TSMC's wafer factory without notifying me or obtaining my permission? Patented technology is in its factories, thus gaining world-leading chip manufacturing advantages. As the world's top designer in the air purification industry, it is difficult for me to imagine that if this patented technology is not applied, what better or equally good method can completely avoid the chip yield limitation problem caused by suspended particles? I would very much like TSMC to contact me and tell me how they are solving this problem. If TSMC is currently using my invented patented structural technology in its factories, I hope TSMC can immediately stop using them and contact me to negotiate a licensing agreement and a profit-sharing contract. I only sent an email to TSMC about this invention patent 5 or 6 years ago. Intel and Samsung are both too big to be contacted, so I have never contacted them. Therefore, it is inevitable that Intel and Samsung do not understand this patented air purification technology. This also coincidentally explains why TSMC has been making progress without any hindrance in the past 4 or 5 years in the process of shrinking its chip manufacturing process, while Intel and Samsung have suffered setbacks one after another. If TSMC really uses my key patented technology to gain huge benefits in their chip manufacturing process, as an invention patent owner, I have the right to claim not only compensation, but also sharing of past and future profits from the application of this patented technology. If you have relevant information or evidence, please feel free to contact me. In addition to upholding justice for the world, the amount involved in this case may be extremely huge. I am happy to share my interests with those who can help me. Family members of TSMC employees, family members of supplier employees, reporters, detectives, lawyers, electronics industry experts, etc. are all welcome to contact me. My mobile number iPhone no +886 9729231169. Email 3356ray@gmail.com or tscleanroom@gmail.com. Skype, raynauldltd. The first person to provide us with information, evidence, or help. You will get the best and incredible rewards. Think about it, if the profit opportunity is 15% of the amount of compensation for infringement. Not only will you advocate justice for the world, but your whole family will be able to live a life of top wealth during your lifetime. I think this is a key scientific patented technology for chip yield. It is very reasonable for users to pay 5% of their operating income for technology royalties. If you add in the compensation for patent theft, the total amount is as high as anyone can imagine. I hope you don't miss this opportunity to make a fortune. Intel Corporation and all chip manufacturers, if your chip manufacturing process problem is due to airborne particle contamination stuck in the clean room and the chip yield cannot be improved, please feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to have a win-win licensing partnership.